and do an intro to the video that Christine, Rose, Elle, and I recorded yesterday. We used Zoom, which may or may not be like the best resource to use for this process, but it's a learning curve, and yeah, that's what we used. So basically this video is the first installment of our Wheel of the Year Sabbats from the Llewellyn Sabbat Almanac, and we just kind of go over our individual videos that we've already posted, and we just wanted to kind of do like a Q&A with each other, see how it went, what we might do differently next time, and to once again invite you to join along if you would like to. So I hope you enjoy the video. Everything will be linked below that's relevant, and if I forget anything, just feel free to comment and I will get that for you. Anyway, I will catch up with you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here.
Got it. Okay, it says
Yay!
recording.
Hi!
Hello.
Woohoo! Okay, so it's me, Christine, and Shanna from Sincerely Shanna D, and we are here today to talk about our experience in this first voyage into this book, the Sabbat Almanac from Llewellyn for 2025. And we each created a video that we shared on our channel. And in this video, we're going to talk about Shanna's experience and Shanna's video. So, hi, Shanna.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. It's my first day of 3 off. So, I'm busy doing like catching up from the week. So,
house stuff.
Yeah.
I got to go to the grocery store. So I know it's always like busy. I mean, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm dying to hear how this went for you. And it was just such an interesting experience. And I know that from what you did in your video about, well, I want to hear you say it, but like, I know that you had like some, I don't know if we would call it ambivalence, but just like some mixed feelings and things like that. So dive in and tell me and the people like some of your thoughts about your experience. Well, and you can also tell people what we're doing again.
Yeah. Okay, so Christine and I decided to sort of do a collaboration on the Sabbath Almanac, and potentially doing like a video or two per Sabbat. That's one of the things I wanted. One of the things I wanted to say. We wanted to kind of follow along with the book, and it was the whole conversation. And I guess I kind of did, but then when I like sat down to do the video that day, I feel like I sort of deviated a little from it, which is fine. But also I was like, once you did yours, Christine, I was like, oh, I didn't really like, I sort of forgot when I was doing it. So I think on the next one, I would like to really try to like hone in a little bit more on, some of the specific like activities or whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing. And hopefully, as long as we don't get too busy, we'd like to go through the whole year. So where it starts this year in Samhain and ends next year at Mabon. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah. I thought it was so interesting. Well, because you did give yourself the freedom to, I mean, the whole thing of it is like our goal with this was to create our own rules and explore the Wheel of the Year and how we would want to do it, and how and maybe making some new rituals or traditions. So I think it's perfectly fine to use like their suggested rituals and activities and make it your own. I think that's largely what you're supposed to do. You did that. It was amazing. So tell us about like did you read every single thing in the Samhain chapter, and then how did you choose?
Yeah, so honestly, I really, really wanted to do, I know you talked a little bit too about the osteomancy set. I really wanted to do that. I highlighted it and I dog-eared the page. But so my goal was, my husband and I have been planning to do a hike each month using, I think I talked about it a little bit in my last video, using the Coast Hike book, where we go in and it lists every single hike that you can do along the coast where I live. So we picked one, and I thought, well, when we go on our hike, I'll see if I can find bones. And just in my head, I was like, yeah, that's definitely going to happen. But the reality is, it's a well-used trail and there's not bones anywhere. So
yeah.
And, my going out on a hike by myself is just not even sort of a reality. Hiking is just not really my thing, other than, like I said, the coast is nice, it's pretty, it's easy, it's like very, it was funny when we started the hike. I was like, how long do you think this will take? I think it was 4 miles, which, if you walk regularly or you're a runner, 4 miles isn't that far. So he's like, oh, I think it'll take, I don't even remember what he said. And it literally took us like 3 times that long because of all the videos and the pictures that I stopped. And he was like, wow,
Oh,
it took a lot longer. And I was like,
yeah.
he was fine with it, but just kind of more the experience than the like hike part. So
Okay, so you went on the hike and you were gonna like when you were talking about the osteomancy thing, like I was reading through that and I was just like, oh my God, that the effort to get it, like it's really special. And so like not to overshare my history with roadkill, but I remember, so I have a really good friend that has a ton of bones, but she's literally picked up roadkill and and done what they tell you to do in the book, where you boil it, you clean it, you do all the things to get to the bones. And it is just like, I don't know if it's something that I could take on in my little condo here. I think that would just be like insane. But that being said, like it would be really a special thing to do, because she's made these bones that she's excavated super artful. And
nice.
it's like really lovely, especially since a lot of the bones are like from small kind of rodents, and you just don't really get to see that. So anyway, major tangent, but I see that like that one was a hard one, I thought, in the book,
Yeah.
like because the prep or just the doing of it is, you got to make some plans.
Yeah. Well, and in my head, I was like, well, surely I'll just find some already like bleached and dried out bones. Surely that's going to happen. But obviously, no. So yeah, because I'm with you. Like
Yeah,
I guess I have the space to do it, but I'm not doing that. Like I would have to buy a specific pan to do it, and I'm not doing any of that
yeah,
stuff. And I can't imagine the smell.
yeah.
So
And there's like maggots,
yeah,
like you got to deal with that. So yeah,
no.
I don't know. That's a tough one. Okay, so the osteomancy set was out. So then what?
Yes. Yeah. So the recipes kind of same boat as you. None of them really sounded great. The broccoli one sounded good. Um, but kind of boring, I guess. I was like, I mean, we have broccoli all the time, right? So I pushed that out. Oh, the shore pines. I highlighted some of those because it talked about being on the coast of Washington, which I'm Oregon, but kind of same concept. So I
Mhm.
thought that might be fun, but I wasn't really sure how to like turn that into a thing, other than to
Mhm.
just go and enjoy them. But maybe getting footage of it. Again, that just didn't really feel like enough to do for this assignment. I don't know, whatever
Yeah,
we want to call it.
project.
Yeah, project. Thank you. So then it was kind of going into, I think it was the headstone cleaning, which I'm like, I'm not going to go clean some random person's headstone. Like it felt so weird. So, if it was a
I've
family
talked about
member,
that. Yeah, I
yeah,
talked about that in my video, and how like the only cemetery is Hollywood Forever Cemetery that I've ever like ever been to. And somebody was
yeah,
like, "Oh my God, please go there and do that."
that's funny. Yeah. So it's like, I'm out of state where most of my family, I guess my family's all over the country, right? But Utah is where I
Mhm.
grew up. So a lot of my like direct family is buried there. And I just, they would be like,
Not
why
the
are you
one.
doing? Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
that
wasn't
wasn't
really
the
an
one.
option either. And then I thought, well, maybe I want to just go to the cemetery and I can like journal or whatever. And it's not really very realistic for me. So for
Yeah,
various reasons. So, doing the communicating with the ancestors, with the thinning of the veil, that felt natural. It's something that I would have done anyway. And it felt like something I could do every year to kind of get in that, the tradition that we kind of talked about, we missed. So
yeah,
that felt like the
yeah,
most accessible. So yeah.
yeah. Okay, so you picked that one, and then what? Like, how did you plan it?
Well, I kind of didn't. I
You just
literally
wing it.
It's so funny. Like growing up, it was all about like I am a planner to a certain degree, but then also like sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna do this thing. And then I like even this video this morning, I'm like, yeah, 11:30. And then at like 11:15, I'm like, oh my God, I have to like set up the camera. And so I get it all set up. I had a few minutes to go. And then I'm like looking, I'm like, because I was like, I'm not gonna put on makeup, it's my day off. And then I look at myself and I'm like, oh my God, I have to at least do something. So, it's just a whole like 5-minute mad rush
Yeah.
at the
Yes.
end. So yeah, it's kind of what I did in the video is stuff I had done previously, but kind of all of it all at once for the video. So usually I don't do all of those things, in the same day or whatever, but I figured for the purpose of the video, it was fun to kind of put it all together and see how that melded. So
You had some nice like B-roll, like you put a lot of attention into the creativity of the video, I thought. I mean, we're not even talking about the content yet, but just the way that you made it and edited it. Yeah, I thought it was really soothing. It was really nice. And I thought that the project that you chose, the ancestors, was perfect. I thought it was perfect because that's actually something. Here's the thing, like with projects, it's like if it's too hard, you won't do it. That's one of the things about like for YouTube, like creating videos. Like I do everything on my phone because if it's too hard, I won't do it. Like if I have to like get out my laptop and do the thing, like it makes it one step more difficult and it makes it almost like then it's not worth it, So I think that like the fact that you chose the ancestors, like that's something that you could do anytime, but it felt really special that you were, because of the thin veil of Samhain. I thought that was a really special thing to choose. So, okay, so tell me how. Tell me how you did it. So, it was creatively done. So, and you had that nice tea set and stuff, or those nice cups.
Yeah. So yeah, the tea set. So I'm gonna scoot closer in case I'm not being loud enough. Who knows? We'll see. So I guess I'll start with the way I kind of use the tarot cards to talk with my grandma specifically. That was sort of just off the cuff. I don't know, like maybe 18 months ago or so. I was like, I'm going to see how this works. I picked a deck that I felt like she would have liked or enjoyed. And it worked really well. It was one of those, like Katie from Moonflower Moments. She has a couple of videos now, decks that made me believe in tarot. That was one of those moments, I was just like, oh my God, this is so specific to her. So that's something I try to keep that kind of stuff special, which I think is kind of where my reservation came from with sharing it. Even though I didn't really share anything personal, but I feel like I'm getting off topic.
No, you're on topic. That's exactly, like processing your project and the creative choices. I think that's it. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So, and then, the teacups, that was just kind of, so it's so weird knowing that your great, whoever grandmother was known for something big, right? Whatever that might be. And so to find that it just felt really, really special. So this was, I want to say maybe a year ago or so, I printed out her picture and I put it on one of my bookshelves downstairs. And so I have just like this tiny little altar. It's actually just a little candle. It's maybe like, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches across. And I just have a couple of things there with a little pitcher of water for her. And then I thought, I'm just going to get some tea. I'll get some special tea that I can kind of along the same vein as where I was sharing coffee with my direct grandma, my maternal grandmother. So I just found that teacup and I thought it was something that she would have liked, which is kind of important for me. Would she have chosen that? Had she gone to this, wherever the shop or whatever and chosen that specific one? I think she might have. So that kind of makes it special. And then I just leave little offerings and whatever feels like she might like. Sorry, the garbage truck just pulled up. My window's open.
I can't hear it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was really nice. Like it made me think of that saying where, once you die, you only live as long as you remain in the hearts and minds of the people that loved you. I thought that the idea of just inviting her in to be with her was just a really powerful gesture because you know what? Not everybody is allowed at the table. Not everybody is allowed to come back through. And so she must have been really special to want to sit with her again like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny when, before she passed, this was 20 some odd years ago, I told her, I'm like, if you can let me know like that there's an afterlife, or let me know, a lot of people I feel like kind of do that conversation with whoever is kind of nearing the end. And she was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I would scare you. And I was like, no, you're not going to scare me. Don't just communicate with me somehow. Let me know you're there. And it
Yeah.
was so funny because I think it was about 3 days after she died. We had, I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite that soon, but I had moved one of her lamps into my house. It was our very first house that we had bought, and it kept flickering. And I was just like, it freaked me out. It scared me, just like she said it would. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it never did it again. So now I keep remembering that. And I'm like, she was right. And so now she's like, I don't want to scare you. So this felt like a really like intentional way to say like, I am right here. I'm inviting you in. Let's have a conversation. So that felt really special.
Do you think that you would have had a different conversation with her if the camera hadn't been on? Because I know that a lot of times when doing ancestor work or even shadow work or work with death and themes like that, it's a really different experience to have that authentic moment versus when you're being filmed. So did that feel like, did you feel intimidated, or I don't know if intimidated is the right word, but like conscious of that?
Self-conscious. Maybe a little. Like I really kept it light. I was just like, hey Grams, like I'm filming this thing. I know it's silly. I know you don't really understand it. But like, can you just like say hi, So I kept it really, really light because I didn't want anything big to come through anyway, like in that
Yeah.
moment. So yeah, she
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm thinking that she's just laughing at me like, okay, hi. Hello.
That's so
So
cute. That's
yeah.
really sweet, though. It's interesting to talk about how death, um, the realities of it, but also the aspects of it that are um, approachable. And we should talk about, like, I saw this TikTok once. These two girls, their mom had died, and they were like adult children, and they were laughing and they were talking about, here's all the things that have happened since our mother died. I don't know if you saw this
Mhm.
TikTok, but they were
I
just
just
like, it was so joyful. It was like they were like, Mom, we didn't know that we were supposed to cancel your car insurance or something like that, and all these things that kind of came up, and they were processing it in this way that was just, it was part of grief is, you know, it's multifaceted.
Mhm.
So I know that during your video, you didn't really, like, you were talking about missing her, but it wasn't like, I mean, the grief was, I think, I think my point is that grief isn't just that initial aftershock where
Yeah.
somebody goes.
Yeah.
It's the rest of your life. Like
Yep.
you will process that loss in a whole bunch of different ways, including joy, including unexpected things,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's a conversation to be had there.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, and my stepdad passed, I want to say 10, 8, somewhere. I don't remember the specific year. I'd have to look it up. But so his is much closer. And so I've been contemplating doing a very similar activity. I'm not choosing the right words, ritual with
Yeah.
him. But I don't feel like I'm quite ready yet because his death was unexpected. And I feel like he probably has a lot to say, or maybe that
Mm,
he's still trying to process. Um, so I'm not quite ready for that yet. But yeah, I think it's so important, like the TikTok video that you were talking about, just being able to have just regular daily conversations with people, I think is so healing. Like,
yeah.
and people who maybe haven't tried it or maybe don't believe in the afterlife might find it silly, but I just think it's healing. I mean, even if you don't
Mhm.
necessarily believe in it, to be able to sit and hold space for that person
Yeah.
it just, I don't know, it just feels good, I guess, for lack of a better way to put
Yeah.
it. It just feels nice to be able to
Yeah.
have that moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so I just like this idea of expanding our relationship to loss and to grief and to the journey,
Mhm.
each kind of micro journey that we go on every time we experience a loss, and eventually our own life, And this is, I think, the magic of Samhain is just um, being willing to know and understand that you are just a little blip of time,
Yeah.
and it makes your life precious. It makes your
Mhm.
experience with people precious.
Yep, absolutely.
So you had your ritual with your grandma, and will this be something that you do more of with her outside of
Yeah.
Samhain?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like whenever I'm kind of going through some, something big, like right now there's a lot of like upheaval at my work. So I've been doing a lot of like night polls. I have another deck. It's funny, I think she's the only one I really have like a specific deck for, but I have a couple. It's that the angels one that looks like a little granny with all the
I
cute
love that
tapestry.
deck.
It's so
Love
good.
that deck. I have it right here, actually. I have
Okay.
both. I have both the guardian angel, um, the fake one. What do you call that? Imposter. And then I have the
Yeah,
real one. It's
the
this
real one.
one.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
love it.
sweet.
So good. Yeah.
It really is. Like, we need to show
Yeah.
the people. This is the one that is, it's just so comforting. This
Mhm.
deck is like a hug. And I'll tell you, like the original is big, you
It's
know.
very good. Yeah.
Yeah, but the knockoff is small. And I don't actually hate the
Mhm.
knockoff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I like the size of it. So it's so beautiful. Yes, and it does give you that cozy hug, and it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's perfect.
So I feel like I have kind of like two different ways. So, that one's just like at night, like, hey, Grams, what do you think I should do about this? Or, what would you say if you were here kind of thing. And then the other is kind of the video where it was like a whole ritual.
Yeah.
So I think there's, varying degrees of how you want to communicate whatever you're comfortable with or have time for in that moment. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Like, um, I like that idea of like, okay, I've got 10 minutes versus like I got an hour, and like what are the
Mhm.
different things that might arise given more time? That's really interesting because I think sometimes we think that these rituals need to be, that they can't just be 5 minutes,
Right.
that they need to be some big plan thing. Okay, so now you did some journaling in the video as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah. Honestly, so full disclosure, I literally I wasn't couldn't sit down and like journal while I was filming. And so I just kind of pulled it out to show like this is my journal, this is how I would do it, this is when I would do it during this process. And then probably you noticed I kind of just paused for a minute and then I stopped. So I didn't journal for the video, but that would be like the point in which I would normally.
Yeah.
So yeah, that felt
Yeah.
it felt inauthentic to sit there and try and journal during filming. So for me that was where I went.
The journal videos are hard that way in the sense because
Yeah.
especially like I always flip through my journal and I'm like, God, I hope there's nothing in here. And but you know what? Like I'm an open book, so it's like
Yeah.
but listen, your journal and the way that you journal has to be, it's private,
Right.
it's your thoughts, and the expectation I don't think is ever that you have to like share that. So, but I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's like sometimes it's just like, here's me pretending to
Yeah,
write.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, but it was
Yeah,
good.
so
Honestly, overall, I really liked the experience, just being able to like, I guess, force myself to really experience something that I enjoyed anyway was nice to take that time, which
mhm,
I think my biggest takeaway from this is realizing now or kind of seeing where, so I didn't really grow up religious, but I grew up around religion, like very prevalent religion. And I never understood any of it, any of the rituals or any of that. I just thought it was silly and whatever. But now doing this stuff and like having an altar and talking to ancestors and, having that potential relationship with like a deity or whatever, I'm like, oh, all of that kind of makes sense now. Like I feel like it's kind of two different levels
mhm.
or two different worlds even maybe, but I can see where they're coming from easier, which I think, at least for me, I feel like that was a big growth moment, a big like aha moment of like, okay, it doesn't seem so eye roll, now to have those
Yeah,
experiences for like a particular religion or whatever. So that was good for me, I think.
yeah. Do you think you felt that way because this was something that you chose for yourself and it was personal versus having it being selected for you and sort of foisted upon you?
For sure. Yeah, because I feel like, if you grow up in whatever religion you grow up in, you're like, this is who you pray to, this is how you do it, this is what we say, this is our routine. This is our schedule. I'm just not I'm not much of like, I love rules, but I'm not a rule follower as far as like when people tell me to do something, I'm like so annoyed about it. Like, I just can't do it. It has to be my idea. It has to be, even if they said, hey, I want you to mow the lawn every Sunday, I'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to. But if it
Yeah.
works for me every Sunday, then I will do it every Sunday. So,
Yeah. The reframe.
yeah. Yeah. So I
Oh
think that
my God.
definitely helped.
Yeah. I feel like this project, I mean, we're just in the new stages of it. I feel like,
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of these moments because, just for this, just exactly how you described, like, I don't necessarily have, in fact, I have a history of not wanting to celebrate the holidays because they were always not fun. So I don't, this is new for me. Like, any kind of ritual, any kind of like literal commitment to
Mhm.
celebration is something new for me because I typically I don't even decorate. Like, I don't do anything because it's so effortful. But I think like the scale in which we're treating um, these projects, to me, it feels so much more meaningful because I think women were enculturated to do for others and put on magic for others rather than giving it this something that's like deeply in our heart, and just for us. So I feel like what we're doing here is for us and as individuals rather than the magic of the season that we create for all these different like type of holidays.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be an interesting um, discovery process, I think.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Well, and I've had to hold myself back not to peek ahead at the next one just
me
quite yet.
too,
I'm
me
like, I don't want to like get
too.
ahead, but yeah, so I am looking forward to it.
I know, and I actually enjoyed like even though I was reading through, there's like what is there like? Gosh, a lot of different uh, potential rituals in the Samhain chapter. I
Yeah.
enjoyed reading them, and I read them several times, and I just really liked the experience of exploring and learning
Yeah.
some possibilities. It made me kind of want to go back and get some of the old books because I'm sure there's like really cool, like they're all different all the time. So I
Yeah.
thought that would be kind of fun. But
For
that's
sure.
okay. So what else? Like the journaling, and then I thought I liked how you kind of like showed your process so that people could use it for inspiration for their own journaling too.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I feel like that's, at least in my opinion, that's the biggest goal of any of these videos that any of us are putting out on YouTube is to give someone an experience that they can go and do themselves without sounding too trite. And
Mhm. Yeah.
showing the tarot decks, like, this is the tarot deck. Like, if you like it now, you can go get it. If you don't like it, congratulations, you just saved $50, But to like, I guess I feel like every video we put out is sort of its own little offering to anyone
Yeah.
who's watching.
Hmm.
So that was kind of my goal. Like, I want it to be something that, I don't know, has a point, because otherwise
Yeah.
what am I even doing? So
Yeah. Yeah. It's meaningful. It's purposeful.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The decks that you chose, what were they again? I'm sorry, it just totally flew out of my head.
Yeah, the first one is Forager's Daughter. That one for sure is the one I
Oh
used
yeah.
with my grams. Did I have a second one? I don't remember.
Okay, so you pulled cards during the actual exchange when you were having your tea.
Yeah, that one was
Um,
the Forager's Daughter.
mhm,
Oh, the other one. Yeah. I keep the other one. It's the Sacred Feminine Oracle. I
mhm,
keep that one. That one, I've had that one for a while, and I was like, it's not really my thing, but it's kind of perfect for my other grandma, like my 10th great grandma. Like, that one just fits in that little niche perfectly. So that's become hers. And the longer I tarot, the more I realize I really enjoy having a job for each of the decks. Like, because otherwise I'm like, what am I doing with you? I don't know. What do you want to do? But if it has a job, I'm like, okay, well, this is your job. This is what we want to do today. So that works really well
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, I love that. And they kind of giving them each their individual energy and you're for
Yeah.
this. Like I know, well, not to like keep harping on the guardian
No.
angel, but I've seen like Lisa Pepez talk about how she pulls this one before bed or
Mhm.
Dawn has a very specific use for that as well. So yeah, I think that's a really cool way to work with the decks, especially if you're like a multi-collector, like so many of us are.
Yeah.
I got more decks than I know what to do with, but I can't stop. Like I just love them so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else? Do you think that when you do your ritual again, will you choose different decks or will you keep it the Forager's Daughter? It's a beautiful deck. It's perfect for the ritual.
I'll likely keep it the same. It's kind of nice because I think I've mentioned I have two versions, so the darker version and the lighter version. So it's kind of perfect. I can use it year round with her. And it's something I think she would have loved because it's her aesthetic. Like she was born in the 20s, had kids in the 50s. So she had like the blue sofa and the red velvet drapes, and it just felt very opulent, so that it just suits her. It was very, very fancy. So.
Was she fancy? Like if you had to put her into an archetype or like compare her to a TV celebrity, like was she fancy? Who would you compare her to? Give us a visual.
Maybe maybe not quite as casual as Mary Tyler Moore, because she worked for the county. And she always had really beautiful clothes. She had like the nice slacks and the nice coats and the jewelry and and she was a tiny lady. She was like 5'4". I'm 5'11", so she was tiny. Yeah. So, she just suited for that time. And of course she had the gloves and the whole 9 yards. And her mom was very, very proper and prim and beautiful. So yeah.
Wow, she sounds like an elegant lady.
Yeah.
She would have approved of the tea service.
Oh yeah, she would have loved it. So
did you go back in and journal for reals when you did? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, well, that was fun. Let's talk.
Yeah. So you're feeling complete and you're excited for the next one, which is Yule.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not peeked either, and I probably won't read it until after Thanksgiving. Like I'm gonna put that thing in December and really have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience, Shanna. This was so much fun, and it was really fun watching your video. I just really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'm glad we got to do it together.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.